day for all of you. I know you guys are, joining from different regions, different time zones. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning today to learn more about how to make our website or the online presence more effective. So we thank Ricardo to be here and share his knowledge with us. And before that, I just want to take like 5 minutes of your time and to show about what Cocotown does because we see a lot of people join today, they're not Cocotown customers. So, Cocotown is in the business of creating and empowering chocopreneurs. We are not in the business of just selling the machines. We also provide, exposure, education, and expertise for the customers. And then our mission is pioneering craft chocolate technology. Sorry. And then our vision is to be one-stop shop for chocopreneurs and foodpreneurs to create award-winning chocolates and gourmet foods so they can make their business sustainable. And we started, concepts in 1992 as a specialty kitchen equipment trader. And then when the recession came, we had to pivot. That's when we formed Cocotown. And we believe in sustainability in three areas: cocoa farming, customers, business, and environment. Even before the sustainability became a cliche word, we have been following this for the 30 years we have been in business. And then we have enabled and accelerated bean to bar craft chocolate making because we make our machines need low investment and minimal footprint, and you need just the basic knowledge to operate them. And we have helped the farmers to add more value for their beans. So instead of selling as a commodity prices, they can make the nibs or chocolate, couverture, whatever the level they would like to do. So add the value and they get more benefit for their hard work. And then our pillars, like we said before, is equipment, education, exposure. So we have the patented machines, and then we have this empowering Chocopreneur webinars. We also have a bean to bar boot camps, and then exposure. For, we do like a Chocopreneur showcase on our social media, on our website, and then we also help our customers exhibit in chocolate international chocolate festivals so they can get exposure for their products. At the same time they can meet with the other people in the around the world and find out the latest trends and technologies. And then our pillars are also equitable pricing. We have the transparency and we have consistent pricing structure, and we also offer financial assistance for people who cannot pay in one time. And the product development, we pay a lot of attention to R&D. Our machines are innovative and patented. And we will also continuously improve our machines. And the best part of our continuous improvement is they are backward compatible. Like it's like if you buy an Apple phone, when the 10, you have the Apple phone 10, and when the 11 or 12 comes, you have to toss it out and buy an entirely new product. Whereas in our machines, you don't have to. You can keep the existing machine and then keep adding the new improvements. And this is the detailed timeline of our business. So we started in 1994, but we started selling in 1996, and then over the years we have pivoted. And then again in 2020, when the pandemic happened, we focused more on this Chocopreneur webinars that we bring in a lot of different topics. So if you are interested in learning any new skills, let's know, and we will find somebody to present that. So, and always we want to, end with Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. That translates to may all beings everywhere in the universe be happy and free, and may the thoughts, actions, words of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Thank you. Now I pass on to Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Balu. Okay, I'm charged with doing a little bit of housekeeping. And what I would like to let you know is that today's presentation is being recorded and you will receive a link to view the recording at a later date. Also, I would like to invite you to be a part of today's webinar. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we will answer the questions during the event and then possibly have some time at the end for questions, answering the questions. So with that, what I would like to do before I turn it over to Ricardo is just we talked the other day in our pre-meeting about your relationship with chocolate, and that opened up a discussion about something that you do that's very exciting and interesting. And I would love it if you would share that briefly with us before we start the presentation.
Well, sure, Theresa, and good morning, everyone. It's always great to be here to connect with new faces and from new places. I appreciate the invitation. So I think when we talked about my relationship with chocolate, well, personally, I love chocolate, and I think I like the sweeter one because I do have a sweet tongue, if that's descriptive. But I do work with a number of creators through one of our companies called Purposely, and we facilitate these creators who are farming, from the bean to the bars in terms of chocolate production. So we facilitate them on our platform called Purposely, but they have to be purpose driven. They have to be able to visualize the impact that they're actually making, and tell their story. And so that's one of the relationships I have. So I get the privilege to meet a lot of creators from different parts of the region, from Colombia, from Peru, etc., that are actually in the chocolate space. And so I do enjoy trying their chocolates. I've got lots of chocolate here in Atlanta in our facility, and we do sell the chocolate. The final product, though, we do sell them on our platform, purposely.com. So if you ever have a need to try some chocolate, then you should always go to purposely.com, and you can see all the chocolate that we have: chocolate coin, chocolate bars. We have chocolate powder. So there are all types of chocolate in its final product. So that's, I think, my relationship with the chocolate.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I love that you call them creators. That's a new way of referring to them for me. Typically, they're called makers, but creators is a great way to refer to chocolate makers, even cocoa farmers, because it's a craft and it's an art. So creator is a wonderful homage to the work that they do. So,
Oh,
all
absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Theresa, and thank you, and I appreciate, again, like I said, the invitation. Now, whenever you can't hear me, please let me know. I do have a giant microphone here, and I do hope that it does work. So feel free to let me know whenever you can't hear me. All right, I'm going to share my I'm going to share my screen now. So let me just pull that up here real quick and share it with you. All right, here we go. One second here. All right, sharing now. Let me know when you can see my screen. Hopefully you can. Can everyone see my screen? I'm
We
gonna
do
just
see
bring
it.
it up. Okay, awesome. Okay, good. So here we are. So today we want to talk about the tools to measure your website and social media, and a little bit more. And so I want to go right into this, and I want to share with you the goals that we have for this workshop. And the one thing I'd love for you to take away from this workshop is to learn how to measure the results of your digital marketing. Digital marketing has become very pivotal to any business today, and if you're not doing digital marketing, then you're behind the eight ball, as we say. 10, 20 years ago, if you weren't doing marketing, if you weren't printing flyers and posters and getting stuff out there in the guerrilla style, as they say, you weren't doing anything. But today, digital marketing provides an opportunity to do so much more including measuring what is and what isn't working, even in real time. I was actually listening to the radio on my way to an event, and I was listening to iHeartRadio, and it's amazing that iHeartRadio, the network, they have technology now that they can measure the effectiveness of the radio, of the radio station, and all the advertisements that you put on the radio. They have platform tools that they can give you to measure that, and that's a big part of how far marketing has gone. So this conversation is really to help you to measure your effectiveness of those things. And so we also want you to use the results. Use the results that you get from your measurement to really lay out a digital marketing footprint. Really lay out a digital marketing roadmap for future efforts. I always say, if you don't know where you are, it's going to be tough to know where you need to go. And that has been a reality for a lot of businesses. And so the reason why most businesses fail is because they sometimes don't understand where they are right now. And understanding where you are now positions you to then figure out how, where and how you need to get there. The other objective for me, by the time we're done here, is for you to know the questions to ask a service provider, a marketing, a marketer, anyone who is actually helping you in this effort. What kind of questions do you need to ask them to determine if they're delivering results? So that's one important thing, because you may not be doing this yourself, and you may not sure when someone is not doing what they're supposed to do. So understanding what kind of questions you need to ask. And then we always encourage businesses and entrepreneurs, even if you're not doing the thing yourself, at least understand how it works in some semblance of way, so that you know when, as we say, you know when someone is not BSing you. So that's essentially why you need to know what kind of questions. And then I'll share some examples and show you some demonstration of how you can conduct your own digital marketing audit. I'll show you a few tools, and I'll be coming off my presentation and going to my browser and show you a thing or two that you can use on your own when you leave this workshop, and practice how to understand what's happening in your space with your marketing. Do need some volunteers, and I'd like to ask you if you would be interested in participating with me. We'd need your website URL in the chat to participate in audit. So I'm gonna use your website or your company as an example in this session, so that we can actually see what's happening. So do me a favor, if you're interested in that, put your website in the chat to participate. And also, perhaps if you can put maybe one or two of the alternatives to your business. So we call them competitors or competition. We also call them rivals, or we also say alternatives. It depends on who you're talking to, and depends on your perspective. That they all mean the same thing to us as marketers. So if you can also think about your closest rival, or your closest rivals, or your closest alternative. If someone is not doing the business that you're trying to get with you, who else are they doing it with? And so I'd like for you to, in addition to your website URL, I'd like for you to put their website URL, and then we'll do some audit there to check them out as well. So I'm Ricardo Beris, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an investor. I speak. I have products that I've invented, and so forth and so on. But today, my day job is the founder and CEO at MI Group of Companies. And MI Group of Companies, we're a software development and digital marketing company. We specialize in building custom software, and everything from as simple as a website to as complex as agnostic systems that measures behavior and artificial intelligence and so forth and so on. And we have 4 divisions in our company, and so we do the custom software. We also do digital marketing. We manage infrastructure service, and we build SaaS products. We're in the USA today. We've got an office in Miami, in Atlanta. I'm coming to you from Atlanta, where I do reside, and we have an office in Colombia, in South America, and in Jamaica and Bahamas. I also founded Purposely, which I referred to earlier, and Purposely is a commerce platform, one of the SaaS products that we created out of MI Group, that runs as an independent company that focuses on purpose-driven brands from around the world to help them to tell their story, to visualize the impact that they're actually making on their environment, on the society, and of course, in their community. I host a podcast called More. You go to anywhere you listen to podcasts. I've done a few seasons. I'm on a break now, but there's some evergreen content that would certainly help if you're interested in learning more about your marketing. The podcast is called More because we feel it is the one thing that we all want. It doesn't matter what we're doing or where we are. We always want more, whether that's more learning, more customers, etc. So it's really helpful to listen. I invite you to do that. A member of the ICABA World Community, which is an International Career and Business Alliance community, which is based in Florida, about 13,000 professional. Also a member of the Atlanta Black Chamber. And I do chair in the Atlanta Black Chamber, I do chair the Global Opportunities Committee. So I'm responsible for helping our entrepreneurs to do business globally and connect with opportunities. Just had a courtesy call, a visit from Zimbabwe and the ambassador of Zimbabwe. And yesterday we did that. So that's an example of some things that I do with that organization. I do speak a few languages. Well, I suppose it can be 2 for now, which is Spanish. So for my folks who are here from Latin America or South America, yo hablo un poquito español, pero no mucho, no bastante. But we can certainly have that dialogue if needs be. I'm also part of Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business, and I know Cacao Town and Dallas is also part of Goldman Sachs as well. So congrats on completing that cohort. Part of the Richard Branson Center around Entrepreneurship, and I'm also part of SCORE North Metro. I'm a mentor with SCORE. And I did mention that I chair at the Atlanta Black Chamber as well. These are some of the folks that I've actually worked with, from fast food chain to beverage companies and so forth, colleges, universities, you name them, hotels, banks. I've done some stuff for them. So I believe I can share something of value with you today, given my experience. I do want to talk a little about just artificial intelligence tools that you may or may not know. It's a craze right now. Everybody's talking about it. You turn on your YouTube channel, which I watch YouTube a lot. You turn on YouTube, or you just go in the news. If you're a techie or a marketer, you've got to hear about artificial intelligence or AI tools. And so I thought I would share a few of them with you. You can go check them out in your own time. But I certainly think that at some point, you're going to have to get comfortable with artificial intelligence and its role in marketing as well as in business. ChatGPT is one, and ChatGPT is a text generative text prompt. You put a prompt inside ChatGPT, and you can ask it anything up to 2021, by the way, and it will certainly give you some feedback. You can measure whether or not that's correct or it's useful. We've already started saving a couple thousands of dollars, perhaps tens of thousands of dollars, since we started using AI tools, because now we can get things much faster, and we can ask for as much as we want. So that's very, very helpful. Midjourney is another tool that you can also explore. Midjourney helps with generating, for example, images, and robotic marketing, which was a platform that we had recently come across. It helps you with strategy, so it helps you to generate marketing strategies and so forth. There's Jasper AI as well. Jasper AI, it's a very interesting tool that actually helps you to generate content for your marketing Canva. A lot of you would know Canva. That's there in the design world. They have a design tool there as well for AI that you can ask it. I'm looking for an image, and I'm looking for an image with chocolate on a machine, etc. You can certainly do that, and it will give you versions of that. There's also Bard by Google, and Google came out with Bard, and they had to go back and come again, and so they now have Bard out, and you can test Bard. You'll see that they tell you there it's experiential, so they're at least giving you the heads up that it's not perfect, because they got chastised for a tool that wasn't perfect before it was released. And then we have a sales prospecting tool as well, which we call the MI AI sales prospecting tool, that actually goes out into cyberspace, if you may, and prospect clients for you. Right now, it uses mainly LinkedIn. So if you have interest in using LinkedIn, for example, as a space to prospect and get folks on your calendar, you can use the AI sales prospecting tool, and it will get the contact. It will invite them to connect. It will share initial messaging, and it will, just based on that. And that's very, very interesting in terms of how that works. By the 1st of June, Google Analytics, Universal Analytics will actually discontinue, and they will now be using officially Google Analytics 4, which is GA4. So if you do have Google Analytics, we encourage you to upgrade your Google Analytics account before the deadline. And to do that, you need to go to your Google Analytics or speak to the person who set up Google Analytics for you on your website, and ensure that you are upgraded, because usually with Google, you have generated a lot of data from your previous from your engagement through driving traffic to your site or so. You want to keep that data for review as part of your historicals, and it's not going to automatically be available on July 1st if you don't migrate it. So please have a look at that. I thought it would be helpful. You have until June 1st to get that done. And I also have a workshop coming up on, actually, we have a workshop coming up on the 8th, which is a WTF workshop. No, it's not what you're thinking. It's actually why the F. People, when we assess their online presence, they get a lot of Fs across multiple categories. And so we thought that we should help them to take their digital footprint from an F to an A in record time. And so we have a workshop coming up on the 8th of July that you can sign up for. So if you're interested, please follow this link and you can register to be a part of that workshop. The workshop is going to be for about 6 or so hours. So we will be definitely combing through your footprint and ensure that we can move you from an F to an A in record time. So that's one thing that's coming up that you're certainly invited. You're certainly invited to do. So let's talk about digital marketing, and let's talk about results. So let me ask you, if you have you ever measured? How do you actually measure your digital marketing results today? And feel free to just put in the chat for me, sort of, how do you actually do it? Do you use a tool? Just talk back to me if you can on how do you actually measure your digital marketing results. I'd love to hear how you do it today, because it's an important. Do you actually measure it at all, and how do you do it? Or do you do digital marketing? Are you doing any kind of digital marketing? And if yes, how do you actually measure the results that you get from your marketing? So that's a good question that I'd love to get your feedback on. So as you are thinking about that, I would like to share with you 4 ways to actually measure your result. And for me, it's important that, yes, I see someone says I measure through sales, and that's a good answer. That's a great answer. You absolutely want to measure that because that's the end result, right? If you're not selling, then nothing else works, because you need to have either those leads, you need to have those sales, and that's how you measure it. But getting there is another thing. And so I want to share 4 ways to measure your results, and what happens when you are not getting the sales that you want to, and we'll have to double check on how are we actually measuring to that. So number 1 is really to set smart digital marketing goals. Setting smart digital marketing goals means that whenever you think about what it is that you want from your marketing, so for example, I see Andrew say, well, we measure through sales, but what are the sales goals, or what are the goals you actually have for that specific indicator to know that your measurement is good? And if you are measuring, if you're a nonprofit like Dr. Peggy, you're measuring through donations. And I see Banchini says that she doesn't measure it, even though she always desired to, and she used Instagram, but she don't know how to measure the effectiveness of it. And so the first thing that we have to start with is the smart digital marketing goals. How much donation do we actually want in what specific time, and how will we essentially know when we actually get it? Is it attainable for us? Is it measurable? Can we know? Do we have indicators that tells us we are well on our way to donations, we're well on our way to this month's sales, or we're well on our way to whatever is the end result, the end game that you actually want? And so this is very, very important. We've met so many businesses who just say they want to make a lot more money, and that has no definition in our world, because a lot more money could mean $1,000 more, or it could mean $100 million more. So being very specific is very, very helpful. But you also want to be realistic, because if you are not performing at say the Walmart level today, or the Goodwill level, or if you're not performing at those levels, it doesn't make any sense to say you would want to generate millions and millions of dollars. You really have to begin where you're at. And so we get folks all the time who say, I want to start making $10,000. And when I say, well, how much are you making now? Well, we're not making anything right now, but I want to start making $10,000 a month. And we say, well, maybe you need to start where you're at. Why don't you try to start doing 1,000 first, or 2,000? Because 10 might be too ambitious, because you haven't put these different things in place. So it's very important that you set very, very smart goal, and ensure that you're able to visualize the path. You know exactly what you will do and how it's going to be done. You have a very precise way to measure it. You understand how to get to it, and you can visualize those results, and you have a timeline. Timeline is very, very important as you measure these things. The next way you can measure, it's really setting what we call key performance indicators. When do you hit this goal? When do you know that this is happening? And so if your donation goal is $10,000 every 30 days, then you shouldn't have to measure it at the end of day 30. Every day or every week, you should be saying, okay, we are indicating at the Friday of the first week, it's 2,500. We didn't hit that. What's happening? So you've got to keep your eyes on these key performance indicators to really help you to know when are we hitting what's important. This is a good way to stay in tune to your results, so that you don't get blindsided, as we say. You don't want to do this at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter, and you didn't know. And so it's important that you stay in the know. Setting up your indicators. At what point do we know that we're hitting these specific goals that we set? And then here's an example of an ad that we ran on Facebook some time ago. What's interesting is that this ad, it's a Facebook ad, and if you notice here, I'm highlighting the reach. So reach on Facebook is how many people actually have seen your ads. While impressions, and we can talk about impressions later, but I didn't highlight that. But impressions, just if you're wondering, are just essentially sort of how many. Again, it's how many people saw the ads in terms of eyeballs. And so typically impressions are higher than actual reach, because if If how many of us are on this call, if let's say 14 of us are on this call, and we had, let's say, 28 impressions, so it would be 28 impressions because there are 14 of us, and the assumption is that we all have, each of us carries at least 2 impressions because we've got 2 eyeballs, and that's kind of like how it's measured scientifically. But reach, it's actually the individual count, and so you look here and you see how many people you need to actually reach to get to where you need to. So, for example, if you're looking at XYZ number of donations, then you want to understand how many people do you need to be reaching to get to the donations that you are looking for, or the sales. How many of those people you should be talking to on any given day. And so in this particular case, there are a number of campaigns that are being run. And because this particular example, we needed to talk to at least 50 people, 50,000 people on any given month. We need to be campaigning to 50,000 people so that we can get to the numbers that we need to. So this is an example of how you want to set SMART goals and work your way into understanding, if I'm selling a product, what's going to be that average sale across maybe multiple products if you have multiple SKUs. And then if you are setting your goals on sales, and this is not business, it's really more marketing, but it has everything to do with business. If you want X number of sales, and you've got to understand that you're pricing your product at X value per unit, or the average price for all of your products is X, it's a Y value, you now need to figure out how many of those you actually do need to sell. And not because you target 50,000 people or you're reaching 50,000 people every month doesn't mean you make 50,000 people will buy from you. It's only a percentage of the people that you're reaching will actually even go to your website. And so if you notice on this side here, there's people who are clicking. So you reach 1,000 people, only 65 of them click on your link to get over to your website, or 287 people, only 9 of them click. So understanding that you will reach a lot of people, but only a percentage of those people that you're reaching will engage and will click on your link or your messaging and want to learn more. And so that's a big part of the funnel that you'll learn about in a few minutes. And that's actually how you generate the donations. That's actually how you generate the sales and so forth, right? So that's very, very important. So that's the opportunity that you have to set really, really smart goals and understanding what needs to happen at every level of your funnel in order to generate the sales or to generate the donations or the leads if you are into that specific business. The third way you measure your results, it's to document the path to your result. So if you didn't hit the target this week or this month, document it. If you did hit it, document it. So documenting your path to the result regardless. How did you get there? So I always like to tell my team, we sign a contract. Whenever we sign a contract, we always like to talk about how did this happen? So we're not always talking about how the bad things happen. We're always talking about how the good things happen. So we celebrate and we talk about, well, how did this happen? Let's plot the graph backwards and see exactly the pathway to this. Because what we're looking for are these clues that is left behind in this path, and we want to amplify that. We want to do more of it. And so, for example, there's just a few days, maybe about 5 days ago, we signed a new contract with a new law firm out in Texas, and we were celebrating with the team, and we said, okay, how did we actually got here? Well, the law firm, this is actually a referral, but the law firm knew someone who was a part of an affinity group who I had a dinner with, and that person had brought my name up in a conversation, and then they decided to get on my calendar. They got on my calendar, and we did a meeting, and then from there they decide, okay, we are perfect to work, and so forth and so on. And how did I meet this person I had dinner with? And so you kind of start plotting and realizing that, oh, this is the path. Which actually helps you to know when you look back at this, it's like, oh, wow, like all of the contracts we have or all of the contracts we have this month came in from the very same thing where everyone who referred someone is a part of an organization that I'm a part of or an affinity group that I'm participating. So guess what? We're going to make sure we keep up with these affinity groups and stay with them, because then that's a pathway to success. So that's very, very important. And the fourth piece is so here's an example of in Google Analytics of sort of, where these people are actually coming from in terms of the documentation of where they are coming from. In a digital sense, you notice that this is Google Analytics showing you how many new users you actually have and sort of how did they get to you. They got to you directly. So if your users were going to you directly because they know you, then you need to be able to understand the pathway to your website, or the pathway to your POS or to your donation. And that's very, very important. When you understand that, you can now dive deep into figuring out what's working here and what's not working, and how do we ensure that we can move quickly on getting the results that we need. And I always like to say, well, if it's working, you amplify it. If it's not working, you modify it. What you shouldn't do, though, is stop. So some days it will frustrate you, and some days you'll feel overwhelmed because you don't think your marketing is working, or you don't think this is working. Modify it, change it. And you want to do that very quickly. We sometimes seem to be obsessed with difficulties, and so we tend to sort of sit and procrastinate on things that are actually difficult or not working. But for us as entrepreneurs, we like to move quickly. So if something is working, let's do more of that, please. If it's not working, let's change it, because in the other worlds that we participating, or personal lives and anywhere else, if it's even if you're in the kitchen, I suppose, and you're all makers of chocolate. So I imagine if something isn't working as you're making your chocolate, you're not going to continue, because you know why. And so it's important that you amplify and you modify as quickly as you possibly can. So the roadmaps. So let's talk about roadmap and how to lay out your roadmap for your digital marketing, just so you understand sort of future results. Because if you are getting results today, then you are going to get results again tomorrow and next month and next year. If you keep doing stuff, you're going to get results. Anything you do, you're going to get results. And I think this is a perfect group, because you're all makers of chocolate, and so you want specific results. Same is true for your digital marketing. But how do you lay out that roadmap for the future, so your results that you're getting in the future is not the same if it's not working, by the way. And so let's talk a little about your GPS. And the results are like GPS. And whenever I get into my car and I need to find a destination, what's interesting about the GPS that's in my car is that, or even on my phone, it picks up my current destination, and then it plots a way to a route to where I'm headed, my current location, and it plots a way to my destination. And if it didn't know where I was, it couldn't help me with that. It couldn't tell me how much time it was going to take. It couldn't do any of those things. And so, we got this. This is kind of the same thing in marketing. This is your GPS, where you look at I'm not sure if you've seen this before. I'd love to know if you've seen this diagram before, but this came from Steve Blank, a renowned, business development guy who's written a number of books, and he works in a number of spaces to help a lot of startups get to unicorns and so forth. But as you think about this is your GPS in essence, because this actually starting on the left. You understand that to acquire customers, to get people interested in the products that you're making, you understand that you're going to have to do some things which we call outreach. You're going to have to do earned media or paid media. And so what is earned media? And earned media are those that you actually create to earn the interest of your customers. The blogs that you are writing, the social media posts that you're making, right? The videos that you're actually making, the YouTube channels that you have, any of these organic activities that you're doing to get attention. This is important because you want to ensure that as you try to get the customers, you know what is it that who they are, first of all, and you know what it is that you need to be producing. So these are the earned media that we see businesses doing, and you have to do those. There are also the paid media, which are the ones that you pay for an ad on Facebook or Google or YouTube or TikTok or wherever you pay for ads, and they actually amplify the outreach for you, so you can reach a lot more people. I showed you an example just now, which are like ads that was on Facebook. Those are paid media, examples of paid media. You pay for TV, streaming ads, or any of those sort of stuff. And you see combining earned and paid, or organic and paid, helps you to get your messages out faster and get access to customers. So you acquire the customer, then you also have to, as you acquire them, you have to activate them. And so there's a viral loop that actually happens with that process. You activate them, which is you get into business, you get them to give you to purchase something, to give you a donation, and that's your job. You've got to have a way to get to them, and once you get them, now it's your time to keep them. So it's not very easy to get a customer or acquire them, but once you do that, your job is to keep them. And so you keep them through constant nurturing, letting them know what's going on, maybe put them in loyalty programs, give them product updates, outreach program. But you've got to be in a position to keep them all the time, because your best customers are not the ones that you haven't met. Your best customers are the ones who already know you and is willing to keep spending with you, keep supporting you. Those are your best customers. You do need to keep getting customers though. So you do need to keep getting new customers, total strangers. You need to keep that up, while at the same time, you need to ensure that you're keeping them once you have them. Very important. Then once you would have gotten them, now you can grow from them. I just told you one case where one person referred me to another, and that was a big part of how I was able to then grow, just from one single conversation or one single customer now turns into two, because we're upselling, you're next selling, you're cross-selling, you're referring. These are the different activities that you can actually do. And that particular case that I just told you about, where we acquired a contract for a new law firm, it was referred, and then that's a new customer that we acquired, and then we're going to activate that customer, which we signed a contract for. Now it's time for us to keep that customer, meeting with them, sharing stuff with them, content that's going to be helpful, doing the work, right, is going to help them and make them feel comfortable. Now they can also refer someone else, and it just keeps going like that. So this is very, very important as you're thinking about your results, as you're thinking about a roadmap. This should be the roadmap that you craft out for whatever it is that you're doing. It can be applied here. So who do you want to bring on your journey though? Because the GPS, every person who purchases from you, every person who makes a donation, every person who set an appointment with you, however your business is structured, who are they, and who do you actually want to bring on your journey? Because I think that's very, very important. If you understand the who, that will help to decide how fast you get the sale, how quickly you get the donations, how much of it you get, by understanding the who, because not everyone is going to buy from you. So I hope you do know this. Everyone is not your customer. So there is a specific group. We always say there's always a niche group. There's always a group of people that are your biggest fan, your most ideal customers, who will certainly take advantage of what you have to offer. So you want to focus on this journey, and you want to focus on this who are you going to take on this journey. I always encourage my clients to build customer persona. Do you know today who your customers are? And do you actually have a persona? Do you even have a persona canvas that you have maybe in your office or in your marketing team has it, and they're looking at this persona all the time? And I always share my love for, Law and Order or CSI, right? I love these kinds of investigative show because it's like, it teaches me a lot about marketing. And it's like when I see these guys go inside their room and I see them pulling up on a big chart, the victim and, who they're looking for. And it's like they put all these pieces together, and they will certainly know who it is when they find them. They're looking for a specific person. And when they find them, they will know that. So it's, who do you want to bring on your customer journey? And if you don't have the right person on your journey, you're never going to make that sale when they get to that. It's a window shopping thing for them, or you're never going to get that donation, or you're never going to get that which you want because you had the wrong person down your journey. So figuring out who it is that you want to go on there first, then you take them on the journey, it increases the probability of getting conversion. And that's why this is so very, very important. So your end game. I love this from Duct Tape Marketing because this is a seven phase hourglass, which for you to really understand who it is that you need to bring on your journey, for you to really understand the results you need to generate, you got to think about your end game. And I love how this is with total strangers, by the way. So you got to know, people got to know you. People got to like you, people got to trust you, and then they can try you, then they can buy from you, then they repeat, and then they refer. It's pretty much the GPS I showed you earlier, but they put it down up. And I do have an hourglass here on my desk, and it is amazing how this hourglass reminds me of this entire journey. In order for people to, which is what you want, right? You're focused on, I want the sale, I want a donation, which is right here. But here's why you're not getting enough of it today, because people haven't tried it. People haven't tried you, see exactly what you're up to. People probably haven't figured out how to actually trust you yet. They haven't liked you yet, right? They don't know you. So if we can start here, before we jump all of these steps, then this is very, very important. Let's get in the know. Let's get people to know who we are. Let's tell people about us. Let's create awareness. And this is a big part of that earned paid media that we talk about. So this is very, very interesting. I love how helpful this is in helping even me as a reminder daily that people have to know me, they have to like me, they have to trust me, and before they can buy from me. So what do I need to do? I need to make myself known. I've got to put myself out there, right? And I have to be likable. Don't be hard, and don't do these things that customers don't like. Just focus on the things that will make people like your product, make people like your brand, your makers. So obviously this is all, taste, right? And visuals and these things that help the customer to like you. That's a big piece of getting them to that buying stage. And you have this awesome product now, right? They buy it. It is so awesome. Like I am telling you, they can't keep their mouth shut. They will repeat, and they're going to also tell people, like, they are now your evangelists. They're evangelizing for you. And this is like so cool when you get it right, because they love what you do. They can't stop talking about it. And if you're not getting that, you've got to go back and check to see, I want this product to be jaw-dropping. I want it to be wow. So when someone tries it, they'll be like, I got to get it. And they track you down, right? They track you down. And you've seen where examples of these you've seen out there. For example, look at Elon Musk. I mean, a lot of people don't particularly like him, but he's got enough people to like him to make him the world's richest guy, right? But look at exactly this and see how he does this. And a lot of time Elon probably doesn't even run any ads anymore. He doesn't need to run that. Or Coca-Cola, right? I don't know when was the last time you saw Coca-Cola running an ad, or maybe Nike or some of these people, because people get to know them, they like them, and they trust them. They go buy from them, they repeat, and they keep doing that. Walmart and so forth and so on. Lots of names that you use and you engage with all the time. So, what are the questions that you need to be asking your marketing folks, or what are the questions you need to ask your service provider to help you determine if they're delivering the results? Because you might be hiring some people and you don't know, what do I need to ask them? How do I need to track what they're actually doing to ensure it's been done right? So here are 5 questions. Ask your providers, ask your marketing team, ask your folks, what is your assessment of my case? What is my current situation? If they're not even talking about, hey, I want to understand your current situation. Where are you right now? Because we got to see where you are at right now with your marketing before we can even put a plan together. Don't accept any plan without people understanding your current situation. It's not going to work. And so even when you're trying to hire people or contract people, don't ask them for a proposal. Ask them, what would be your assessment of my case? What would you need to assess my case? Because if they're not talking assessment before they talk about anything else, then you realize that becomes a flag where it might not work out because you don't know where I am at today. Imagine going to the doctor and you just show up at the doctor's office, and before you know it, the doctor is putting stuff in your arm or giving you medications. It's like, doc, wait a minute, I haven't even told you what's going on. Like, you have no diagnosis. Like, you don't know what's going on with me. Why are we going here before that happens, right? So you've got to be prepared to share with your marketers, to talk about what's going on, allow them to kind of assess. And that's very, very important. You wouldn't do it at the medical office or at the clinic. Why would you do it for your marketing, right? How would you approach my specific scenario, my goals, or my need? You need to be talking to your marketers about that. So you now you know my case. Now you know, here's my situation. Here's where I'm at. How would you approach my specific scenario? Or this is the goal I have. These are the needs that I have. We want to generate. We want to have some donations, and this is our goal. Or we have a need for a certain amount of sales. Or here's a specific scenario. How would you approach this? And listen to what they're actually saying, and you're going to be able to tell right away that their approach might not be the right approach for you. Who have you done this for before? And can you speak to or show the results that you've had? You want to ask that, because it's important that you understand that the folks who you did this for before, the companies you did this for before, is it enough for me? Is it convincing enough for me? Perhaps because that shows your experience, that shows your knowledge, and I can rest assured that I'm going to be able to get some results with you. So you need to ask this question: who have you done this for before? And can you actually speak to? Show me some things that you've done that you actually got results for. Very, very important. And oftentimes we move really quickly because we wait until we get into these desperate mode and we miss these important questions. Then we hire the wrong folks, we contract the wrong people, and then it didn't work. We waste a lot of money, and then we are frustrated, and then we feel like nothing is working, etc. So slow down a little bit, ask the right questions, and see exactly how these things work for you. Number 4, can you speak to someone you've helped in the past or you're currently helping? It's always good to have someone that you can talk to and find out, what's the experience like working with Ricardo? What is it like working with his company? What kind of results did he generate for you? What are your thoughts? And you need to feel comfortable about that information so that you can make decision on whether or not Ricardo is a good fit for you. Because not everyone is a good fit for you, and not everyone who says they can help you can in fact help you. And these are the questions that you need to ask to ensure that you are getting the results that you need. And then lastly, what systems of measurement will you put in place to ensure we are achieving the results? because you want to understand how are you going to measure what you're actually doing. So you're going to run ads, and what are you going to do? And if your folks are not talking about Google Analytics and talking about these systems and tools that will allow you to see where you're headed, you just want the sales to happen, but there are a number of dots that you need to connect. And if you're not hearing those things, right, because they're not at the POS with you, right? They're in their office or wherever they are, they're doing marketing, they're generating buzz. You're at that POS, but what is the system that how will they know that you are making these inroads and you're achieving these results? So you've got to ask those questions. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to move into the next phase of the conversation with you. And this is about digital marketing audits. This, I think, is the most exciting piece, because this is where I get you to participate with me. And I want to go into some practical examples and demonstration of how do you actually do your audit. So I think we have a poll. That I want to ask you. Have you ever done a digital marketing audit before? And just please answer that poll for us. If you have done a digital marketing audit, digital marketing assessment, same thing. Have you ever done this kind of thing before? I'd love to know if you haven't done this thing before. I have an inclination that most people haven't done it. And that's why I do what I do, to help educate people on the importance of doing this, because I do think it gets a lot of people out of the dark, etc. So we have some responses. I know there are like 14 of us here. And so we'd love to hear more from you. Fill out this poll that you have on your screen. Have you done a digital marketing audit before? Already there 50% of folks says that they haven't done it before. I'd love to get someone maybe say yes. So hooray, we've got one person who has done it. Please complete it. Let's see what else. We'll give you a couple seconds to finish that. But you're already seeing where most people haven't done these kinds of stuff. And people will say they don't know what to do. They don't have the time, and so forth and so on. And so there are lots of different reasons people haven't done this before. Some people don't know what it is at all. And so clearly most of us haven't done it. So why do it? What is it and why do it, right? Well, a digital marketing audit is going to set you up for success. You're a player in a game, and you play to win. I've never met a player that wants to lose. Matter of fact, I was just watching the NBA last night, and my heart was, we do have the NBA here, and we're playing East and West, Miami Heat and Denver. Miami is my team, and I felt really horrible when Miami lost twice in their hometown down in Miami to the Denver Nuggets. And like, man, I can't understand. Like, and I can't imagine. I'm not playing. I'm just a spectator, and I felt that way. I can't imagine how they felt. But as a player in a game, you are selling a product, you are providing a specific service, you're an NGO, you are playing along other rivals, along other alternatives in your space, which is your play field. Your space is your play field. The chocolate space is your play field. You are a maker, and there are other makers. And so you want to be able to do this to understand and set yourself up for success, because I promise you one thing, there are lots of other players who are also looking how you are playing the game, and they're modeling, they're adapting, they're taking things from the best players, and they're replicating those things in their business. And that's really how that actually works. You want to also get yourself out of the dark about marketing. If you don't know, you can't fix what you don't know. And so it's very, very important that you need a visual, you need eyes on it. If you can't do that, then that becomes a challenge. And that's why you audit, right? You want to be able to do that. You want to find answers to performance questions, right? We know the donation or the sales is the end goal, but you've got to be able to find those answers as what is it that's preventing us from getting to where we need to go at the time when we want it to go. Are we too ambitious? Are we too, is the goal too low? Like, what is it? So you've got to be able to find those things. And that's going to help you to discover opportunities to optimize your efforts. because every time you find an answer to your performance question, it leads you to a discovery. Here is what we can do to optimize where we are so that we can get a different result the next time. Because we already know insanity is driven by doing the same thing over and over again, right? And so you want to do the audit to do that and pave the way for a functional roadmap. If the pathway that you're on is not functioning, it's not working, you got to fix it, you got to modify it. And that's a big part of why we do the audit. So how do you conduct it? Well, it takes time. It takes time. It takes, so if you're not a marketer and you're trying to do this on your own, it's possible, but it does take time. Sometimes 1 to 3 weeks, depending on the data collection size. Some people have a lot more data, a lot more activities out there in the digital world. They're doing a lot. And so it takes a little bit of time to really pull all of those things together. We sometimes need access to different accounts. Like it was just yesterday, I was working on an audit and we needed access to Google Analytics. We need access to Google Ads. We need access to Console. We need access to all of these different tools that our client would have had so that we can start looking at the pieces and where things are coming from in order for us to plot. And yes, in their mind is, dude, we just want the sale, but what's the reason you're not getting it right now? And these are the things that can unpack the why so that we can figure out. You can't fix what you don't know. And that's always my mantra. So we need to know. We don't want to be in the dark. Because yes, we know you want sale and you want it yesterday. We can't just go out there on the microphone and say, let's do it. We don't believe that actually works because it hasn't worked. That's the reason you don't have the sale. And that's the reason you need the help. We need to figure out where in the process. Is it the messaging? Is it the audience? Is it the tools? What is it that is preventing you from doing that? And so tools actually is going to help you to save hours of time and manual time when you're doing this kind of stuff. And that's what we use to help us with that as well. So these are the type of audits that we look at in the context of digital marketing, of course. And I know the terms, it's not very familiar because when you think about audit, you're thinking about auditors, accounting and taxes and so forth. There is a way to audit as well in the digital space. I also call it assessment, so you can choose whatever word that works for you. I'm talking about the same thing here. Social media audits, email audits. How do we audit your email, your search engine optimization, your content, your conversion, right? Your marketing technology, otherwise called MarTech, your funnel. How do we audit your analytics, your competition, right? Paid outreach, your performance, your web performance. How do we audit your listing, where you're listed today as a business? These are the different types of audits. So there are over like 13 of them in terms of categories that we audit all the time, just to ensure that we understand what is going on there so that we can fix it. And so typically we like to do the marketing technology audit because we're into tech and we're marketing and we do marketing technology. We like to understand and help people to understand what are the marketing technology tools that you can actually use. So marketing technology stack of a website, for example, your website, and I know I did ask you earlier, put your website in the chat if you'd like to volunteer, because I'm going to come off screen in a second to show you how this is done. So marketing technology stack of a website, you want to see what technology other websites are built with. Why would you want to see that? Why would you want to know that? Well, you've got rivals. You are not the only one who is doing this. And there are some folks who are doing it very, very well. And if you are a player in the game, you need eyes on them. And you can see what their sites are actually built with using third-party tools and auditing tools to figure out, okay, why does this rival, why is my alternative, why does my competitor have this and I don't have it? Because they're performing very well. I mean, I see them everywhere. I see them doing all these things. How can I level up? One thing I say to my clients, like, listen, the one thing that you need to remember when it comes to your rivals in competition is that you never want to perform lower than how they're performing. You're either performing just like them, which is mean you level up, or you do better, but not worse. So if there's one thing that you need to think about is, and a lot of times we hear leaders say, well, I don't want to focus on the competition. I want to focus on myself. And we get that. You need to do that, right? The competition, you are your own competition. But the truth is, if you want to perform and if you want to generate the sales and generate, you've got to be able to find people who are doing stuff that are similar. And that's why I say you don't have to call them competition if you're not comfortable with the term. You can call them rivals. You can call them alternative. And it's a better way to appreciate who they are. So we're going to look at Wapilizer and BuiltWith. These are two tools. And please let me know in the chat, have you heard of any of these tools before? Chances are you probably not have heard of them, and want to show you how they actually work. So here's Wapilizer. Wapilizer actually looks like this, a pretty kind of a purplish color branding. And it actually helps you to identify technologies on websites, your own website as well. And it helps you to find out what's the stack. A stack is essentially a list of tools that you or technologies that you're using on your website, and it helps you to create an understanding of what is it that you have, what is it that the rivals or people in your space. It doesn't even have to be people in the same space as well. Like, you could look at some other businesses that you admire. Who are some of the leaders and businesses that you admire, and see what exactly they have going on. And maybe that will give you some clues as to how you can create a pathway for yourself. So Wapilizer does create a list of different tools. So as you can see here, you see that there's a CMS on this particular tool, which is a WordPress website. You see an analytics here. This website generates analytics from Google, Facebook Pixel, Google Analytics. You see there's a Google Tag Manager. You see SEO. You see blogs, right? These are the things that you want to be able to look for as well. And these are the marketing related piece that you want to look for. The other pieces are very technical, so you don't have to worry about the database and the JavaScript. You can ignore those, but you're looking for the marketing pieces, which is what's going to really help. Which is what's going to really help you to understand what's happening. Teresa, I see there's a question just coming in. Do you want us to answer that, or do you want us to continue?
Sorry about that. I didn't notice. I didn't realize that the Q&A was enabled. Do you see the question, Ricardo?
Yes. So Sally was asking, what are some digital marketing KPIs with, say, an agency for FB ads? For example, CTR, we target over 1% ROAS of 1. What KPIs to cover which parts of the funnel and their targets you can recommend? So I think that's a great question. And with this information that you shared, the KPIs for an agency, as you think about the entire funnel, right? To get that ROAS, that you're, and for the other folks in the call, ROAS is a return on ad spend. So that's what's meant by ROAS. Some folks call it ROAS, some say ROAS. I think to get to that ROAS that you need and to get to that CTR, you have to break down on every intersection of your funnel from the awareness piece. You've got to be able to figure out how many people do we actually need to reach. So you set a KPI on reach, you need to set a KPI on click-throughs, right? And you need to set a KPI on the conversion, because the conversion, the ROAS only happens when the conversion happens, right? And so at every level, then you need to be able to cover those KPIs. And then those KPIs can be broken down even further, but the high level, I think those are 3 major KPI buckets almost that you need to then keep. And so you can then ensure that, are we hitting this number? To get to a ROAS of 1, how many people based on the industry that I'm in? So we have this thing called we call it a backwards PNL, a backward PNL, where we look at, okay, you want a ROAS of 1, right? Here's what needs to actually happen in your industry. Here's the average conversion. Here is the average ROAS that folks get, right? Here is the average click-throughs that they need. Here is the average reach that you need. So you get a perspective. So you can now see, okay, in my industry, in my sector, what I'm doing, the average performance there are these. And maybe this goal is too ambitious because the average is lower, or maybe it's too low because the average is higher. And you can set those goals based on that. Hope that was helpful. All right, so we talked about my thing keeps shaking. I'm not sure why, but we talked about Wapilizer just now, and I want to show you the working example. So when we do an audit and we look at, say, a marketing technology observation, we see, for example, only Google Analytics or Facebook Pixels that shows that section of the MarTech tool. There are no observational analytics. So as marketers, we feel like there needs to be observational analytics happening on your site as well. And that's almost kind of putting a surveillance camera on your site to see, what do people do when they come on my website? I've spent time driving a bunch of traffic there. I put the CTA button in the middle. I put it on the left. I put it on the top. What are these people doing when they come? And you start looking at their behavior and notice that nobody clicks the CTA button that you have at the top. They scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then they go back up and they stop in the middle. They go back down to the bottom. They're looking for stuff. So maybe the CTA button is not going to help, but how will you know that if you are not observing their behavior? So we always kind of recommend that you can put like observational analytics tools, not just the traffic tool, because Google will tell you the traffic, where they're coming from. It will tell you what source and so forth. But looking at it, and it's amazing. Hotjar is one of the tools that we actually like, and I don't work for Hotjar. I don't get any commission from them, but I do like their tool. And I do also like Microsoft Clarity, two tools that you can kind of note as well in this conversation, because I can go, literally, I can go and play a recording of people who visit the websites, see exactly what they do when they're on there. What's the button they're clicking? You can look at heat map. And it's like working in a physical store. Like sometimes you go to Walmart and you're going down the aisle and it's like, well, I was here last week and I'm sure I saw these things here, but they're no longer here. Like they put them all the way in the back. So they keep shuffling things up because they're observing behavior. They want people to shop, and they want you to spend all the time in the store as if you have nothing else to do. That's what they want, because they know the more time you spend there, the higher the probability that you will leave with more things. And so when people go on your website and you're observing their behavior, you can shuffle and move things up. Your website is supposed to be this living, breathing stuff. Don't just build it, leave it for an entire year before you do anything about it. But if it's not generating you anything, then maybe you need to start there and do some observation. So these are some of the things that we observe on websites when we do it. And then there's built with. So I'm going to come off my my screen, and I'm going to quickly just pull up another screen and pull a website in from one of you guys. So let me just do that real quick. And here we go. So see what was the website that we've got here. And I'm going to start right at Google. So I'm going to go all the way back to my chat. The project says the project. Okay. Project Thopian and Fairness. And I hope I'm saying that right, but let me just grab a copy of it anyways. And I'm going to put that in my URL, and I'll show you how Wapilizer operates. So this is Project Thopian and Fairness. So this is their website. And if you notice here on my screen, I've got a plugin here, which is a Wapilizer plugin. This little plugin here. When I click it, it actually shows me a list of tools and technologies that this website is using. So I can quickly see that this website is using Google Analytics, and it seems like they're using Universal Analytics. So you need to make sure you upgrade that to G4 because it's currently showing that. You have video players on there. I'm not seeing any CMS. I'm not sure how do you actually manage this site today, and it might be hard for marketers or other folks to help because you're not facilitating the ease of managing your content, and maybe you're doing this yourself. So these are stuff that Wapilizer will tell us, because as a marketer, I'm looking for things. We looked at the types of audits. I'm looking for email. Are you giving people an opportunity to stay connected with you once they visit you on your website? I don't see anything of that sort. So I will be asking you, how are you actually doing these things? And then if you don't have a way of doing them, then we'll be figuring out, okay, we need to set goals to get those things fixed so we can ensure if we send traffic here today, if we send 1,000 people here on today, how many of them will you give an opportunity to stay connected? Because not every one of them will probably buy. Maybe none of them will buy. but do you give them an opportunity to say, hey, before you go, we would love to send you a guide. We would love to share something with you, so that you can stay in touch with them. That's always your opportunity, right? And so, so this is how I'm quickly just using Wapilizer to give me a preliminary. The other pieces I'm seeing here they are very much sort of on the tech software side. Not interested in those. I mean, I see there's a CDN there, which is great. And a CDN is a cloud data network that helps to browse the browsing experience of your site to make sure that things go faster and so forth. But I'd love to look at another website. So please put, please put a website in here if you'd like me to take a look at it using Wapilizer, so that we can see exactly how it fares. So my recommendation here is I would like to ask, and Teresa probably, and okay, Teresa was the one who repasted this in here. So I'd like to maybe ask Dr. Peggy, because I think this is your site. What is how do you manage the content here? What are you using to manage your content here today? Are it doesn't seem like you're using WordPress, for example, but what are you using? So we'd love to kind of understand that, because I think that might add to the challenge, right? So do you use a technology like a WordPress or a Wix or a workspace? What do you use to go in and log in and update your content? And do you have a blog that you post regularly? So if none of these things are happening, then we'd like to understand whether or not they're happening, because we didn't see them in the tools. So it's likely they are not happening, but chances are, you should then be able to, if you'd like to move the needle forward, then you'd have to then make these adjustments accordingly, so that we can get to where you need to go in terms of donation. Anyone else would like to give that a shot? I only see one website in the chat. Okay, so you said a member goes in and there is a blog that is emailed to mailing list. Okay, so I don't see that blog on the website, so that might also be helpful. Just so you know too, blogs are like meat to a beast of a search engine. So a search engine, think of a search engine as a beast, and you have to feed it with steak. Blogs are like steaks. When you create a blog and you put it on your website, and you optimize that, and Google or Bing crawls that website, it's picking up the information that you have new content, and it serves those content up in a relevant fashion to people who are searching for what it is that you do. I always say people who know you will look for you. The problem is that you don't know enough people to get everything that you want. So you have to get strangers to connect with you. And so people who don't know you people who know you will look for you. But people who do not know you, what do you think they're going to look for? You're going to look for what you do. So your ability to express and share what it is that you do and develop an authority on the subject of what you do is very, very helpful as people look for you. Because if you have a market, there are people who are probably going to be looking for what you do, and you want to be findable. And that's very, very important as you work to develop that. So remember that. And I think blogs are very important. Put them on the website, put them on here. And yes, you send them out via email. That's awesome. But make sure you get folks on the email to click and come over and drive traffic over here. And that'd be super helpful. You may have it here, but I don't actually see it. So I'd love, that would be my suggestion. I'm going to go back to my presentation, and then let's move on to the next tool. So BuiltWith also does the same thing, and we talked about BuiltWith earlier. BuiltWith also does the same thing. So you can put your website into BuiltWith as well, and it does have a plugin. So you go to Google, you put Wapilizer. Wapilizer actually works on any browser, right? You can download the plugin or the add-on on your browser, and then you can actually do this, right? And we suggest you do this on just do it on a few sites. Your site, but do it on some of the other sites, maybe sites that you love or businesses that you admire, rivals, etc. And you do the same thing with this one as well. The next audit that I like to share with you is a search engine optimization. So search engine optimization, or SEO, for all of your pages. We're talking about your content. We're talking about your local SEO. We're talking about on-page SEO. So what's the difference between on-page and off-page SEO, you may ask? Well, on-page SEO is working on the web pages in your website. Every web page needs to be optimized that is visible to the public, because as you optimize those pages, Google, right, when you connect your website to Google, say through the Google console, which actually Google console, you connect your website, they actually crawl your website with a crawler. Some people call it robot or crawler, and they crawl the website for content that you have. Every page gets crawled that you would like to be crawled, and Google takes that information and then holds it in a repository so that whenever someone searches, right, best chocolate manufacturer, whatever they're searching for, chocolate near me, whatever the keywords are, if you have any information on your web pages that are relevant to helping that searcher, Google is now going to list your website as an option, and that page is going to be called your search engine result page, first page, because most people don't go beyond the first page. I don't know if you do, but I don't. And so it's really what's on the first page that people look at, and then they click. Your goal is, how do we be on the first page? How do we remain on the first page? So we look at those kinds of stuff in our audit. And then we, of course, you look at website speed. You want to look at performance. You have any broken links, keywords, right? Keywords are, what are you actually saying on your site? And a lot of times people like to write copy and content for their website the way they feel about their business, and they don't put their customer or think about their customers. You need to write for your customer. I always tell my clients, you're not building the website for you. It's hard to hear, but this website, it's, I'm good if you like it. I'm good. Your opinion matters, but the opinions that we are really looking for are the opinions of your customers, because you're building it for them. So you have to constantly think about them. You have to write for them. You have to make sure that you're writing for things that they would benefit from. Tools that we're using for this, we use our digital hub. So we do have a digital hub, which is a platform that allows you to scan your entire website, your entire online presence, to see exactly where things are. And you can use that, and there's an SEO section there that you can also look at. There's Google Business, Google My Business as well. I don't know how many of you in the chat are on Google Business, but if you don't have Google Business today, you need to get Google Business before the day is out. GT Metrics, Think with Google. These are some of the tools that we would use to then give us a perspective on SEO. Where are we with our SEO today? Remember, we started with talking about understanding your current position. That's what the audit is doing, giving us these perspectives. So here is a screen grab of the MI Digital Hub, which is our platform, by the way. And so this gives you a report. So you're able to generate a report, which is very comprehensive across 7 categories. If you've never had a report like this, you see the SEO right there on the very end. You see the different grades that you actually will get, and that's actually important that you understand. So the system scans and gives you a report across each of these different categories, so that you'll be able to figure out what is working and what isn't working. So an example of the observations that we would make, of course, will allow you to look at the report. You can look at the report, you can generate the report, you can look at it, you can get help to review it. But recommendations will include, well, you need to get Google set up. If you don't have Google My Business, you need to get that set up. If you're not adding metadata on your website, and metadata are these intricate data that the Google search engine or the Bing search engine, the crawl that they send is actually looking for the metadata. What is this? What is the title of the web page? How do you describe this page, right? Do you have images on there? Are you describing the images? Because sometimes you build your website and you just upload an image and you don't put a name on the image. Those things are very, very important. You don't say what the page is about, and so forth and so on. So we say, well, you need to add metadata, which is title, description, and tags that will lead to
your page being findable. And implement organic SEO. You know, start working on a blog, maybe an FAQ. A few days ago, we made recommendation to a client that if you're selling an actual product, people have questions about the product. Let's develop some frequently asked questions about the product and put it there alongside the product page, on the product page where you're selling the product. So what are the questions that people would have about your chocolate? What are the frequent questions that people would ask about your chocolate or the making of your chocolate? And answer them. You are the best person to answer them. And this is an example of how you do implement organic SEO. And then consider paid search. Google provides a paid search platform that you can pay as little as $5 a day, and you can run paid search. So people who are searching for what you do, you get priority in terms of getting listed on the top first 2 or 4 results on the page. So if you go to a Google search results, you notice you'll see a sponsored results, and then you see organic results, and that's essentially where your paid search is going to be. Here is Google My Business. It's called Google Business now, and you go to Google Business and you'll be able to see this is exactly what your Google listing is going to look like. So if you have a physical location, and even if you don't have a physical location, you can actually say to Google, I'm a service area business, I'm servicing this specific area, and you can also be listed here. Why be listed here? Well, you want to stand out in Google for free, actually. They're actually giving this to you, and they run the largest directory listing online, Google. So please make Google your friend, and anything that Google has that is offering you to help you, you get it, because as we know, they're very huge online. And so here's an example of a Google Business, right? This is the end result. If you would have put stuff on Google Business or have a Google Business, then this is what it is. And you see the different elements of the Google Business, so your website, access to your website, directions, and the ability to call you via phone, the reviews, where you can showcase reviews, your location, the time that you're in business, your phone number. All of these things are very, very important. And of course, shows your website, any appointments. If you have a sales page, you can put your blogs here as well. There's so much you can actually do with Google Business, and Google will take that information and help to lift your profile online so it becomes easier for you to find. So that's just one example of how we would recommend you working on. So that's a great tool to help you as well with your SEO. Another tool is your GTmetrix, right? And so GTmetrix shows how fast your website loaded, because people actually don't stay. A lot of times when people go to a website and the website's not loading, and they think something is wrong, so they move on, right? They're not trying to, they don't know you, total stranger. They think, oh, wow, maybe I shouldn't be here because it hasn't loaded. Like I'm waiting and it's a white screen, or I'm not seeing anything. And then maybe it's not a secured site. And it's like, oh, wow, I'm scared, because you're going to get a message that says, maybe your telecom is saying be careful, it's a bad site because it's not secured. And these things throw people off and they move on. You don't get the visit. You wasted your efforts. And so those things are very, very important, that your site loads fast. I wanted to come off my screen to show you GTmetrix and maybe use the same example of GTmetrix using the same website. So I'm going to grab this same website. I'm going to grab a copy of it, but I'm going to go to GTmetrix, and I'm going to show you how I would run this website into GTmetrix, right? I'm just going to copy and paste it in here, and I'm just going to test it and see how fast the site is performing. And GTmetrix is going to do a scan, and it's going to give me a grade. And we like to do this because then we're using even tools that are not our tool. We're using third-party tools, and we're actually looking how does a scanner like this shows for your website. What results is it showing? So in a few seconds, you will see the results here, and you'll also see details. So there's a B, and that's a great, because a lot of the grades don't get past a C. Sometimes they're D and F and so forth, but you can get an A. And so the fact that you're at a B, it means that you've got a lot of potential to get an A, but what's causing it? And they'll show you in red where you've got these accumulated shift, and you even just look and see what's accumulated shift, right? This accumulated layout shift that explains how much layout shift is experienced by visitors on your on your page. So a good user experience, aim for a CLS score of 0.1 basis point or less. And so that's going to help to speed up your site, because they're saying, hey, you've got load times, and these are the ones in red, and you've got load times. It takes a little bit of time for the stuff to come up. So you might want to fix that. And each of these areas that they're talking about, it gives you opportunity to go in and to look at it. And you can send this to your developer, the person who is managing your site, and say, hey, how do we get this to an A? Because time is of essence for your folks who are coming on your site. And it's only people who know you will stick around and, and be empathetic or sympathetic or whatever. And the strangers are not going to do that for you. And so you really want to make sure that you are doing what needs to be done. All right. So that was GTmetrix, and you run Scanner. So this is an example of where you do a scan and you run and you get an A. Everything seems to be flowing. And the idea is not to load your website up with a ton of images and a ton of stuff. The idea is to make sure that your customer has a good experience. That's your idea. Have you ever been on Amazon? I'm sure the answer is yes. And Amazon doesn't have the most beautiful or prettiest site in the world, but they do make a lot of money. So a lot of times the customer doesn't care that the website is fancy and it looks amazing. I mean, you do want to have a good presentation, mind you, but your strange customers who are coming, they're looking for an answer. They're looking for a solution. And your job is to get it to them in the quickest time possible, get them to the POS, get them to that donation button as quickly as possible, but help them to understand why, and increase your conversion. That's what this whole thing is about. Think with Google is a great tool for helping with SEO, and you can put your website into Think with Google. They have a lot of free tools, and it really helps you to take your marketing further, as they say, right? This is a screenshot of sort of what a report would look like when you run for example, your website through Think with Google. It shows you the score, where you are, where your industry average is, and it gives you a breakdown. Very, very interesting, and it's something that you should, of course, you should of course try. So I hope you're taking notes, because I think this is very, very important that you check these things out if this matters to you. These are some other SEO auditing tools that we use: SEMrush, Google Keyword Planner, which is inside Google Ads, and Bozomo and HubSpot Website Grader, Screaming Frogs, PyFu. We love to use these tools to give us perspective. So this is what SEMrush looks like. So you go to Google, you search, this is what you're looking for, and you can use this to help you with your SEO. Here's again a working example of SEMrush. Shows your site health, gives you warnings. A lot of people don't know that their website's got warnings on it, because you're probably not on your website. I mean, you built it for your customers, you're not on it. You're focusing on other stuff, but are you looking at these things that are causing errors or warnings? Have you looked at the report recently? So this is important that you check how many pages are being crawled by the search engine. Is it all of your pages? Some of your pages have been blocked, etc., because that's very, very important to your objective. HubSpot Website Grader looks like this, and I like HubSpot because you can do a free course when you do work with HubSpot Website Grader. You get a score, and you can do a course to probably help you to fix what you're fixing. So down to the competitors or the rivals, we like to look at them as well and spy on them. There's nothing wrong with spying on a good competitor. Why not? They're a player on the field that you're in the space you're in, and you need to know what's going on with them. I promise you, everybody does it. So you gain insight, and so you need to do it as well. So SpyFu, for example, Facebook Ad Library. I'm not sure if you guys know Facebook Ad Library, but I'm going to show you how cool Facebook Ad Library is in looking at your competition, right? So here is a working example of sort of an audit, observation, and recommendation. You do an audit, and we come up, what are we observing here? Well, the competitor's website, for example, would have a chat widget installed on it, and you don't. Why not, right? And so do you think it's time to put a chat widget on there and have a chat widget app on your phone? So someone, if it's just you, someone comes to your website and they need to talk to somebody, they need some answers right away. Do you think it's helpful so that they can chat with you directly that is probably helpful. And if you think so, well, yeah, you should get one on there, right? So you recommend it, let's install one. The competitor's website have a much better structure. It has more CTA options. It has a better user experience. So, hey, maybe you need to fix that, because it doesn't have a structure where you have the customer going on this journey. So maybe you need better offer. You need to provide offers to your first-time visitors, right? The competitors' reviews can be used as an advantage to create better messaging for similar target audience. You're targeting the same people. And so what are their customers saying about them? Oh my God, I love this. I love the fact that it is this, or I love how it looks, or I love the experience. These guys are very, very patient with me, etc. These are key words that somebody's customer is saying out loud in public about how good the experience make them feel. You can take those and you can use them as part of your marketing as well, right? And so use the customer reviews of the competitors, the good ones. You go on Amazon, you can look, anywhere there are reviews, you can see people when they are happy, they will talk, and they are going to talk some amazing stuff. Those amazing stuff are keywords that you need to then use to improve your messaging, right? SpyFu. SpyFu is a great tool to look at what's going on with the competition, and SpyFu actually gives you that. And so here's a working example. So SpyFu gives you organic competitors. It shows you the ranking. You see the keywords. It shows you a number of things that you need to have eyes on it, or at least understand that someone is looking at this and showing you what's going on with the alternative and how do we get to where we need to get to, right? SimilarWeb is another one. SimilarWeb shows you, again, the competitive landscape. Who is doing what you're actually doing out there, and how are they doing what they're doing in terms of their ranks, right? So you can compare multiple websites or multiple companies at the same time. You get global rank, country rank, industry rank, traffic engagement, and you get a list of things: geographic, demographic, audience interest, all that stuff you get with SimilarWeb. Great tool for looking at the rivals that you have out there. And then there's Facebook Library. Facebook Library I like, because Facebook Library gives you those perspectives, but from a different angle, which is from ads, right? So you can see where people who are in the same space, you can see what kind of ads they're actually running. And if you pull out, let's say, your top 2 or 3 rivals, you can see if they're running ads on Facebook. Facebook actually will tell you. You can actually see the ads that they're running, and they're running those ads. You can say, well, if they're running these ads and they seem to be successful, shouldn't we be doing something like that or better? Because right now we're not doing any of those. That means we're not leveling up, right? So let me show you. Let me go right into Facebook Ads Library. So you go to Facebook Ads Library, just go to Google and you just type in Facebook, right? Just put Facebook Ads Library, right? And it will come up. And then once you're in here, you basically just go visit the Facebook Ad Library, and it's called Meta Ad Library now, yes, because Facebook changed their name. And so, or Facebook has gotten a parent company called Meta. So I think Facebook is still there, but they changed their name to Meta Ad Library. So you're in Meta Ad Library, and maybe someone can tell me, like, who, like, give me a name of a top competitor, or give me a name of a keyword. Give me a keyword that you probably use to run your ads. I don't know, maybe, you're in the chocolate business. I'm going to look at all ads. I'm going to also look at in the United States. And by the way, you can actually look at your current location, or you can look at everywhere in the world where ads are being run, right? And if it's US is your market, or everywhere in the world where ads are being run, you can look at all ads. And then you can also type in, so let's say we're typing in, I don't know, let's look at chocolate bars. Maybe there's people out there who are advertising, and so we saw one advertiser running, and this is obviously in a different language, but hey, we see there's another one here since April, right? So we see people are running. This is an ad that someone is running on Summer Sun delicious vegan and sugar-free gelato ice cream. I guess there's chocolate in there as well. Keywords, right? So I see someone in the chat says chocolate Melanger, right? Hope I got that right. So let's see who else out there is. I didn't spell chocolate right, so that might have been the reason, but let's try it again. So we see a ton of people actually coming up here, whether chocolate or Melanger, which is the keyword, right? These combination of both or individual, you can see exactly the kind of advertisement in different languages. And now you can say, okay, what if we do this just for the US, what will be the ad? So you see there's someone running a letterpress chocolate, and you see Catherine Roxon here, and this is Spanish or another language, etc. And so forth and so on. So you get to see what other people are actually doing out there, right? Somebody says, let's try Cacao Farmer. Yeah, why not? Let's try Cacao Farmers and see if there are any cacao farmers advertising out there. And yeah, there are 400 results of cacao farmers advertising. So you can see and get insight. Here's Tunbridge Farmers Market, right? Someone advertising there. There's a Calvert Distillery. So there are people who are advertising, and this is powerful, guys. This is really insightful, because you could see, when I look at this, to see, okay, this is what they're actually saying. This is an image ad, and these guys are using a carousel to advertise, right? These guys are using carousel. So it's a combination. These guys are using video, right? And they're you see the copy in here and you see exactly the CTA that they're using, right? They wanted to send message. They're on Instagram and so forth. And you can go into the details, right? This is another one, and they're putting their website up there in the mix first and foremost. This is amazing, because now you're getting perspective. Now you're understanding who is playing in the same space and what are they actually doing, and can we do something better, which I'm sure you can, because you don't want to do anything worse. So you can level up. This is a wholesome foods market, and you can go to the details of these any of these ads, and you can even see the page. These guys have 1,000 followers and 31,000 followers on Instagram, and now you can go check them out. You can scroll through, see what their profile is, and so forth and so on, and that's going to help you to level up, right? So I hope that was helpful, because these are the things that will get you to where you need to go when it comes to your competitors' analysis. All right, so there is social media as well. We talked about social media earlier on, just kind of organic, paid, and earned performance. How do you use your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, anywhere you're on social media, like impressions, right? Impressions is pretty much the at the very top of your funnel. This is like a funnel. So the very top of your funnel is what you're posting, how often you're posting, are you getting any engagement, is anyone clicking, and is anyone converting from the clicks? And this is what you're after. And I tell people, you don't have to you have 4 different KPIs. Someone talked about KPIs earlier. You can set a goal for impressions. Here is where we want to be in terms of impressions in the next 30 days. You can set a goal for engagement. Here is what we want for engagement. Here's what we want for clicks. Here's what we want for conversion. Now let's go and let's make sure that these things actually work. And so these are some auditing tools that you can use to help you to measure that. And when we do work in examples, again, we observe Facebook page might lack engagement, LinkedIn page might not have any activities, and it's like, well, we need to get on top of those. Let's set a goal to make sure that we're doing a post every week, twice per week. Let's get in the rhythm of posting, then we can go and get in, engagement, and we can go and get in that. We can set tiered goals essentially, right? So you don't overwhelm yourself if you're doing this on your own. If you're working with a team or an agency, let's make sure you have eyes on the goals that are being set to get these things happening. Mention is one of the tools that you can use to get insights from your activities, organic activities on social media. You can also see here how Mention gives you a graph on exactly what's going on across multiple Facebook channel, social media channel, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. The channels, once you put them in here, it tells you where you're having most of your activities and so forth and so on. Sprout Social also does that. And the Digital Hub does that as well. As you saw earlier, we We basically measure about 7 different categories. So in one place, you get all of these things as well. So Sprout Social does that. Buffer Analyze does that as well. So you can get more in depth with your analysis and your audit by looking at what Buffer Analyze does for your brand on social media. And we also like to talk about analytics as well. Measuring the data. We've got to measure what's been done. So we measure social media, we measure paid outreach, we measure email. What are we measuring? We're measuring traffic, we're measuring conversion, because at the end of the day, if someone is not making a donation, if someone is not buying, right, nothing is happening because this is what we need. And so how do we get someone to buy? We need to get eyes on it. How do we get eyes on it? We need to drive traffic. How do we need to drive traffic? We need to target a specific group. How do we do that? And so forth and so on. And that's going to help you to take your stuff further, right? So Google Analytics, for example, Google Data Studio, Facebook Pixel, LinkedIn Insight tags. These are some other things that you need. So an observation could be, well, your Google Analytics and Facebook Pixel are listed on the website, but we need to know, how are these analytics tools being used? You install Google Analytics, but you haven't even looked at it forever. That doesn't help. So you need to get eyes on that. And if not, what are the access tools? Recommendations can be, let's configure them. Let's make sure you have eyes on it. Let's make sure you have a place that you can get ping and say, hey, you got XYZ number of impressions this month, or you got this traffic, you got this much clicks, you got this many purchases. Measure those conversions so you understand what's happening. Again, you can't measure what you can't see. Google Analytics looks like this. You go to Google, type Google Analytics in, you're able to pull up Google Analytics, and you can then, if you don't have it, you can get set up, get your web folks or your marketers to put that on your sites and start tracking, set goals and start tracking the data over there. Same is true for Facebook Pixel. If you're doing anything on Facebook, you need to have the Facebook Pixel, especially if you plan to do ads, or LinkedIn Pixel. All these social media, by the way, they do have these tracking tools, these pixels, to help you to measure the interaction between them and your website. So when you look at that, you could see all of your efforts. When we post a ton of stuff on Facebook, but we don't know if it actually is working because we see people liking it and all that stuff. I know like doesn't give you any money, but like is a pathway to get you more money, right? To at least allow you to start generating money. So we also want to look at email audit, which is, how do you currently deal with email? Transactional email, for example, customer service email. Do you have workflows? So your list management, how are you managing your email list? How are you handling personalization? What about segmentation? What happens when your email bounce? Are you managing the list, or you take out those people that's bouncing? Are you cleaning up your list often? Are you tracking the open rates and the click rates and the unsubscriptions? So all of these things. Do you have automation? When someone goes on your website, can they sign up for something, even if they're not shopping today? That's always going to happen. You send a number of people, drive traffic to your website, you're always going to have people that are not ready today. It is always going to happen. So you have to have some kind of downsell for them. They're not going to buy today. They may buy tomorrow, or they may send somebody your way. But if you don't give them a chance to stay connected, put a little widget on your site that says, hey, don't go just yet. And we call that an exit pop-up. And you can look at exit intent pop-ups, and they're like, anytime someone is closing your website or leaving your webpage, there's a pop-up there with an offer. And sometimes on your homepage, you have these widget that says sign up. Right now, we have these very lame invitations. Sign up for a newsletter. Let's do something more compelling. Let's give something of value so that people will give you their information, because you already brought them over there. You spent money, efforts to get them over there. Let's connect with them in some way. Give them an opportunity to stay connected. Will they stay connected? Will they give you their data? I'm sure not everyone will, but you will not know if you don't have it. So put it in place. And that's kind of how we really look at what are you doing in relation to your email. And these are the email tools that you guys may know, about, right? When it comes to MailChimp, for example, is one of the tools, right? So MailChimp actually does help you to understand. And you can contact their Klaviyo. There are a number of tools. Mautic, we use Mautic as an automation tool. We build out email workflows and so forth and so on. So we do those kinds of stuff there with email. So guys, I hope that you did some learning, you have some takeaway. I hope that this was helpful, that you learn, in summary, you learn how to measure the results of your digital marketing. You also learn how you use results to lay out a digital marketing roadmap for future efforts, right? You also learn how to ask the questions, know the questions that you need to ask for your providers. We shared some 5 questions that you can ask. And then I shared you some examples and demonstrated how you can conduct your own audit. There's 13 different categories of audit that you can do. We don't have enough time to go over all 13, but you saw the list of the different audits. And you can conduct those audits yourself and see, how are these things doing? Ask those questions, poke your way into getting the answers that you need, because what matters to you is that sale, that donation, that lead. Those things matter to you, and you need to stay on top. You need to stay on top of this. Again, this is who we are as a company, MI, and we provide full service digital marketing. We, from sales to post-purchase funnels, we do audits, we do all the social media, the web marketing, we do the software development, we build the website, the apps, the custom software. That's essentially one of the things that we do. And then we have the infrastructure service. We host the websites, and we'll handle the Amazon Web Services, the Azure, we'll handle support and maintenance. And we have SaaS solutions, whether it's software as a service, SaaS is software as a service, or SMS SaaS, or display ad SaaS. We have commerce SaaS, email SaaS, and automation SaaS. So we have these different SaaS products that we use to help us to achieve these goals that we want. And so I've got a special surprise for all of you, and for thanking you and for sticking out with me, because I know sometimes these things can get overwhelming. Sometimes they can even get boring. And the boring stuff, we sometimes geek out on the boring stuff, but these are the things that make it work. So I've got a special surprise for all of you. If you choose to accept, we'd like to offer you an opportunity to have something. So I want you to stick around, because I'm going to announce that, but I would like to hear from you. Did you learn anything from this workshop that you will apply in your marketing, in your business? And if that's a yes, let's put it in the chat. I'd love to see if I was helpful to you today. So please put in the chat if you think this was helpful. Let us know if you learned anything. And, I'm not just going to take the yes, but I want to also know, what was your biggest aha moment? What's that takeaway that you're going to then say, you know what, I'm going to work on this. What's your biggest aha moment today? Was it whatever it is that we talked about from start to finish? Put in the chat your answer for your biggest takeaway that you feel like you're going to then use this to go further. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I saw a lot of people putting yes, that they did benefit. So this is great. What's your big takeaway? What did you get out of this? Someone says mostly my company AI. Well, MI. Well, I hope if that's a big aha moment for you, that you can use MI to help you. It's fine. That's awesome. The tools that are already out there, questions to ask for your marketers. So that's awesome, Lisa. Thanks for sharing that. Andrew, thanks for sharing that. The company, Kim says, as a reminder how to use analytics to make better decision. A lot of tools. Dr. Peggy says, start looking at Google Analytics from our site and change it. Awesome. Sharon says, lots of free tools available too. Yes, indeed. There are lots of free tools that are available that you can use. Sita says, yes, most interesting and informative, using the tools to get into my efforts. So I'm pleased that I was able to help you to have some semblance of takeaway. This is the beginning, guys. You have to work it. You have to work it, and all work works. And as one of my mentors tells me, that all work works. So put it to work, and if whatever the results you get, you amplify it or you modify it accordingly. Setting SMART goal, and yes, biggest takeaway tools, and absolutely welcome, Lisa. So here's the offer. We've got this report that we can generate for each of you, and the report's actually a $500 report. And I always like to say that, listen, the best way to thrive digitally is to know. You got to get yourself out of the dark about your marketing. You got to start knowing. You can't fix what you don't know. And so the digital success, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard, and you can learn everything you need to know and improve your digital success. You can learn it. It is possible. You can get the help that you actually need, but it starts with that assessment. So we are offering you an opportunity to have a free assessment that's valid at $500. You go to midigitalhub.com. You can save that. You can, Teresa, I think you put it in the chat. You go to midigitalhub.com. You click on that Get My Digital Report Now, and that's going to take about 24 hours. You fill some information up. If you start putting in your information in there and you see your business start showing up, it means that you're on Google Business, you're online, and you click on your business and you allow the submit to get your report. If you don't see your name showing up, so that you can't see your information, you have to fill up your details there. And that's going to allow you to submit, so you can generate and understand what's happening across your reviews, your social, your website, your e-commerce, your SEO, all these pieces. Very, very important. And then now you wait about 24 or so hours, you'll be able to then get you get access to a business account that will give you, so you can see the report, but also you'll have access to manage and monitor what's happening on these report. So I really thank you guys for your time today. This is my contact information. If you ever need to have a conversation, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can send me an email. You can visit our website as well. And you can also, get on my calendar if you needed to schedule a consult or so with me, or reach out to me via my phone number. So that's it, Teresa. I don't know if there's anything else that you needed, but I'm happy to take any questions that your audience might have at this time. Thank you so much.
Yes, Ricardo, thank you. This is my second time attending this, getting this information, and I don't know how the audience is feeling, but I'm feeling excited and at the same time overwhelmed, because it's a lot of information.
Yes.
It sets up almost a feeling of panic, like, oh no, where do I start? So I think that would be a question that I would have for you. As our team is very small, and I imagine that for the folks in the audience as well, they may be making the chocolate, answering the phone, going to the post office, at the same time trying to do some of the things that you are recommending. So what might be if you could tell us one place to start, the most important place to start, and then little by little move from there. But what would be the most, if I'm overwhelmed, where do I start?
I think that's a great question. And I get it that these things can be overwhelming, especially if it's not your world and you're not used to it. I think the first place you should start is you start with your assessment. Start with getting yourself a report. It doesn't have to be with the Digital Hub. You can get a report, maybe a marketer who you are working with or an agency. Get a report on where things are today with your marketing across all these categories, and have a discussion about what you're seeing. And the things that you're seeing there is where you can start from. So you set your goals based on those results, because not everything in those results is going to be looking sleazy and nice. You start with the ones that you're not happy with, and you need to be able to start setting some goals. So I think that's the first thing that you need to start, knowing where you are. And I showed you a lot of these things, and you can do your own assessment individual on these tools, or you can just go and submit a request for a report with an agency or with your current marketing team, or you use something like the Digital Hub. So I think that's a good place to help you to figure out what would be my first step. Then we can break things up and see, okay, here's where you are. Let's talk about where you want to go, right? And then we see the distance or the variation. Now we can set some goals and say, let's start small, but we want to be smart about it. Like, so you can take them, we say bite size at a time. How do you eat an elephant? You just chew him up one bite at a time, right?
Yeah, yes. So if someone, let's say they don't have a team, they don't have any, if it's just one person and they
Yes.
want to know where to start, which audit, which thing would be the best place to start, what would be your suggestion?
Well, I like to look at if I was in that position, I'd like to see who else is doing what I'm doing out there. So because I need to understand, like, hey, like I'm in this game as a maker. I want to see who else is doing it, whether it's in your area, in your town, in your country, or worldwide. You can decide, I like the low hanging fruit. So I like to know, who, if I'm in Atlanta, like who in Atlanta, because what are the odds that I'm going to get someone from China to purchase from me tomorrow? Very, very low. But what are the odds that I get someone to buy from me in Atlanta? It's probably higher than someone from China or somewhere else. So I want to know who else. If you're not buying anything from me, if you're not using my service in Atlanta, who are you using? I'd like to know. So I need to see who else are the rivals or the players in Atlanta, and I want to check them out. I want to see what they're up to. What is their social media? What is their website? I want to go in an investigation mode, and I want to see, because this is how I need to be able to level up on my game, right? I need to pull my game up based on what I'm seeing out there.
I love that. That's great. So see what your competition is doing, see what other people are doing, how are they succeeding, how might they do better, and learn from them and go from
Yeah,
there. That's great.
absolutely. This is a business plan thing too, right?
Right.
It's in all of our business plans, but we oftentimes don't do it.
Okay. Someone has asked, can you put your slide back up with your contact information or people can reach out to you?
Oh, sure. Let me do that. So you can spend some time to see that there. Here we go.
Very good. Thank you. You said so many wonderful things that I wrote down. I always like to think of things that not only can I apply to my job, what I'm doing, but there's always a parallel. Even when we talk about chocolate related topics, I always find some golden nuggets that I can also apply to life. How
Yeah.
business and life and chocolate all seem to parallel. And one of the things that you said that stuck out to me was amplify what's working, and if it's not working, modify it. Right? That's sort of
Yeah.
like that's a great life lesson.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that
In your personal life, you're not going to date the same guy if it's not working out. You
right,
modify
right,
it by not going out with him anymore and say,
right.
this is not working. We need to, but if it's working, you go from a date to another date, you're amplifying it until before you know it, you marry. Now you have a family and you have a picket fence with a nice house that's amplification, right? And so that's exactly how we apply those same concepts. That's a philosophy we apply in business as well.
Yeah, and the other one was if you don't know where you are, you can't know where you need to go. And when you
Yeah,
said that, I
absolutely.
also thought if you don't know where you've been, right? So if you know where you've been and mistakes that you've made and successes you've had, that's another benchmark that you can use for where you want to go.
Yeah, no, amazing. And I always say, we are where we are because of what we have been and what we have known. And so what you know, you have gotten you here. It is what you don't know that's going to get you there, right? And so that's always very interesting. So just don't rely on your current knowledge, your current know, because it has gotten you here. And if you need to go further, this is not the end, but if you need to go further, you're going to have to be prepared to learn some new things, to do some new things and upskill, upgrade so that you can move further, right?
Yes. Okay, Mrs. Balu. Mrs. Balu is joining us not from her usual spot, but I see she's got her hand up.
Yes.
Can I promote you to panelist, Mrs. Balu? And I've invited you to unmute. She is on her phone. Oh,
Oh,
we can hear you. How exciting.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if we can not turn on the video. But anyway, that's
Yeah, no,
because
I'm
I'm
gonna
looking
promote.
from the phone.
I'm gonna. Can I promote you to panelist? Is that what? If I promote you to panelist, then you should be able to turn on your video. Now you, if you can do it, you're in a place where you can do it.
Okay.
Aha!
I don't know.
Yay!
Continue. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was a very good, meeting. I learned a lot. Like I put in the chat, I was trying to type in something, but it's very hard to do it on the phone. There are a lot of work we need to do. Yeah, but thank you for your information. And thank
Absolutely.
you for your time. And also all the participants, we thank you because without your participation, this webinar doesn't have any meaning because just Ricardo talking to us does not have any impact, but you could learn and, Ricardo could reach more people because his passion is empowering people just like CocoTown's mission. So we thank you for giving us an opportunity to help you make your, business better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. So Ricardo, one last takeaway you want to give? Like one thing that people leave today that you want them to have foremost on their mind?
Yeah, well, I've said it a few times that if you're not seeing it, you can't fix it. So get your eyes on it, know what it is, get some eyeballs on it. And don't forget that. And this is anywhere in your life or in your business. If you can't see it, just remember you can't do anything about it. And so part of the reason, just this week, you probably know about the fire in Canada that has pushed a lot of smoke down into the Americas, right? Into US, North America side. And they had to almost shut down New York, right? People couldn't drive on the road. They had people postpone school and all. Why do you think that happened? The smoke has created this veil over the city. You can't see anything. You can't see anywhere. You can't see the skyline, nothing. So you have to stop. And that's exactly what happens with business and marketing. If you can't see it, no progress can happen. So make sure that you get your eyes on it. And hopefully the smoke, because I've been down here in Atlanta, I don't know, Andal, if you smell it too, but last night I smelled and saw smoke coming up in this part of Georgia. And, I get worried quickly. It's like, I wonder if I'm not going to be able to see. I need to get off the road as quickly as possible, because if I cannot see, I can't do anything, right? And so this is the very same thing for business and marketing. Get your eyes on it.
Great. Thank you. Mrs. Balu, you're on mute.
Yeah, actually, we are on orange alert in Atlanta for the smoke and, the air quality. It just shows how fragile our ecosystem, at the same time, how it's all interdependent, how the ripple effect. So you might think you just have a small business, but that has a big effect on the farmers who are going the brains. So always, and also the customers, that your customers who get to eat the healthy chocolate. So you always make a difference in somebody's life. So think big and grow big.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that was the last word, I think.
So we just want to end with thank you, Ricardo. And thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Raghavendra, because he's the behind the scene person, helping organize all these webinars. And, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. So have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Good job, guys. And thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Mel. Have a good weekend, everyone.
All right. See everybody next time.